weeks ago, Rod Stewart's ex-drummer Carmine Appice released his debut solo album, simply titled Carmine Appice. And just recently, he was in Toronto conducting a drum clinic, at which he got together with Kim Mitchell, ex of Max Webster, and seasoned session bassman Tom Szczesniak.
Over the last year, there's been at least 3 albums by drummers. The Roger Taylor album, the Phil Collins album, your new album. But yours seems to me to be the only one that the drums are really brought up front, where they're supposed to be. You know, if you say, well, here's a drummer doing an album, there should be a lot of drummers in it.
Well, I think one of the things are, see, these guys are in bands. Phil Collins is in Genesis. You know, he's part of the band. It's, you know, he's a band member. And so is Roger. I wasn't. You know, I was in the Rod Stewart band, which was Rod Stewart's trip. It's his trip. You have no say in the tours and all that, you know. And, you know, I wanted to do an album to bring the drums up front. I have a whole concept to do like what Gene Krupa did in the 40s, and Sandy Nelson did in the 60s, you know. I had the concept, let's do it now, you know. And I think a Krupa of the 80s thing with a show built around the drums can work, as these drum clinics prove that they do work. You know, you get the people there and you rock them out. It gives me the opportunity to play the crazy things I can't play with the, you know, with the commercial sort of rock and roll bands that we're in.
As a member of the Rod Stewart Band, co-writing 2 of his biggest hits, Do You Think I'm Sexy and Young Turks, Carmine became a pretty recognizable face in the music world. But in a past role, as drummer for the famed Vanilla Fudge, Carmine influenced the people that eventually became the Institutions. People like John Bonham of Led Zeppelin.
Bonham came on tour with us with Zeppelin when I was in the Fudge, Vanilla Fudge, that is. And they opened up for us. I mean, there's not many bands that could say they opened up for us. Actually, I dedicated the album to him as well, because he was a great drummer.
I understand that in getting his style down, he used to listen to all the Vanilla Fudge albums.
Yeah, he listened to the first 3 Fudge albums. If you listen to the first 3 Fudge albums, you probably hear 75% of Bonham's, you know, playing and what he does on that album, and all the weird riffs I did. I've calmed down as far as getting weird, you know, as far as like the Fudge, we used to do lots of syncopation and weirdness, and today it's not really in, as they say. More the backbeat is more in, and just reggae rhythms and stuff like that.
When it comes to living the traditional rock and roll lifestyle and creating mayhem on the road, Carmine's legend is right up there with people who are his good buddies, John Bonham and Keith Moon.
Now I'm writing this book, and it's called The International Rock Guide to Hotel Wrecking. And it's the stories from 1967 of Fudge all the way up to like 81 with Rod Stewart Band. Rod Stewart Band, we had this thing called the Sex Police. God forbid if you got caught with a young lady in your room, the sex police would knock the door down and come in and rip all her clothes off. All her clothes off. Not your clothes, all the chicks' clothes, you know. Just crazy things like that, you know. I guess it keeps your sanity on the road.
Since his split from the Rod Stewart Band, Carmine has in no way been lying low. Immediate plans include studio work with Ted Nugent and a Japanese tour with a group made up of Carmine on drums, Tom Peterson, ex of Cheap Trick, on bass, Eric Carmen on keyboards, and Rick Derringer on lead guitar and vocals. There's also word that that group may do a brief tour of Canada. The new music will be right back after these messages with an exclusive Don Letts film on The Clash.